Hey everybody. Hi. It's good to see you. Hello. That's for you. The applause is for you. Thank you for coming to Quilt Nerd. I just saw in the chat, thanks to Stephanie Cake, that Victorious Emmers. At first I thought it was Victoria. And because you chatted Victorious, I'm not calling you out, but I'm just saying hello, like a specific welcome to you, because you said, what are we up to here? It's the first time I've been to the stream. So thank you to everybody who's here, who's come back to see the show. Thank you to the subscribers, to Quilt Nerd, and I have many other thanks to give. And so people who've been here, you sort of keep coming back because we have a really good time here. And so because Victorious is here, and maybe some new people too, I'm going to tell you what the show's about. I haven't done that in a while. But the show, Quilt Nerd, is about quilts. And what that means is that it's really about art and history and people. And it's about a particular kind, but it's also chickens. I mean, we have chickens around here. Oh, it matches my sweater. Anyway, so there's puppets also, and wine and chips and things like that. And there's really wonderful people in this community. And what we do is we don't teach you how to quilt, and we don't teach you we don't teach you how to make a quilt. There's lots of great resources for that. And I used to teach people how to quilt, how to make them. But these days I just sort of steer the ship that is Quilt Nerd, and between myself and Stephanie Cake, who you meet in a minute, and the community, we sort of understand the why of quilts rather than the how of them. And it's like, well, aren't quilts just blankets? Like, you know, can you really have a whole show about them for like a year and a half? And the answer is like 1,000% we can do that, because we have a soundboard, so we can make a show about anything if you have a great soundboard with like duck sounds and stuff like that. Anyway, but we have this opportunity to talk about quilts, and the thing is about quilts, they're so great, you know, because if you look at like one quilt, like the quilt behind me, we're going to take a closer look at that in just a little bit. The quilt behind me for the intro changes every time, and it sort of gives us an opportunity to like jump in to the world of quilts, right? Every time. And some of the quilts that we look at are they're like contemporary, you know, like this quilt behind me was made in 1982, the year my sister was born. You know, she just turned 40. Wow, you know, so it's not like a new quilt, but it's, you know, kind of new when you think about some quilts were made like, you know, 1782. And so the people make quilts, and everybody makes them, and, you know, poor people and like wealthy people and people of all colors and religions and all this stuff, everybody makes them, and they make them in their own way. And so by looking at a quilt, just one quilt, you can see a lot of the world. Yeah. And Sherry likes it. Thanks for liking the stream. Anybody who says, you know, like or follow or subscribes to the show, it's really great. Or just tunes in, you know, to check it out. And we do it on Twitch because, you know, I don't know, I'm an alternative kind of gal, you know? I just can't, I gotta rebel. And I made a show called Quilty for years, and that's on YouTube, and it will always be on YouTube, and YouTube's great. But I get bored, you know, I don't know, what can I say? And I like the Twitch. So we do it here, and if you want to subscribe to the show, you don't have to watch ads, and you get access to the Discord after you're around for a few months. If we really like you and you're really awesome, we'll let you into the Discord earlier, which is like the show when the show's not on. And you get entered in giveaways, and there's all kinds of great stuff. A private stream, private dancer, private streams for you. Last week I was in Los Angeles. Last week? This week. Yeah, this week. This week I was in Los Angeles, and oh my God, it's the kitty. It's the sewing kitty. Mother Nature resubscribed for 15 months. You see what happens? There's a kitten that sews. Mother Nature, thank you so much. God bless you. And you get the kitten sewing, you see? When you subscribe and you do nice things to support your favorite content creators, great things like kitten sewing happen on screen. Yeah. So that, Victorious, is kind of what Quilt Nerd is about. And we run about 2 hours. It's kind of the way it goes because we chat, we talk, and yay, Robin. And so we go through some different things. And tonight, I have a great show for you. I how do I even describe it? We have just really cool quilts to look at because I have these exhibit catalogs, and some of them are very obscure and old because when we say quilt nerd, we mean it around here. Like, we like obscure quilt facts, and we like obscure quilts, and, you know, long lost quilt people who you don't even know their names, right? But their quilts are so amazing. So because of the circles we run in, you know, Stephanie Cake's been running in some pretty cool circles lately. So I have all these really cool exhibit catalogs. Like, for example, so my library is really big, you know, and it continues to grow, which is great. So like, this is one, oh, no, yeah, the label is green. So, but like, this is one sort of binder thing of like, you know, exhibit catalogs that I have. Look at that, Neon Quilt Folk Arts in Las Vegas, you know. What is that all about? Like, what is this? Oh yeah, this is a big one. Ludi Strauss, you know, really great from like the 1990s or something. You know, look at this thing. This is Quilts, man. It's so groovy. Look at that. Museum of Contemporary Crafts. It doesn't even exist anymore. The New American Quilt, great exhibit. So I have some exhibit catalogs we haven't talked about. And I got them at the seminar for American Quilt Study Group. So we're going to look at some of this stuff. And if you want to know, and if you're not like if you're more of a Twitch person and not a quilt person, it happens. I went to TwitchCon. That's right. Oh, sorry, you saw my wound. Yeah, Quilt Nerd Show, TwitchCon. We were there, me and Cake. That reminds me, Stephanie Cake helps me out in many ways, psychic, emotional, technical. Stephanie Cake, how are you doing?
Am I your what do you call it?
Emotional support chicken?
Emotional support pet?
Basically, yes.
I'm your emotional support cake.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. How are you? I mean, I really feel, I was so sick. I had COVID, everybody, and I was so ill. It was so terrible. But I'm back, and I missed you very much. And so, but you're well, and the family's good, and...
Yeah. I've not been near Chicago, so I've stayed well.
Yeah, exactly. It's disease.
But I did hear a lot of people came back from QuiltCon sick, so I mean,
well. Yeah.
So much fun, good things, but I hate to hear people being sick. And I'm glad you're better.
I am very glad. It takes a lot to take me down. I mean, I've done this show when I was not feeling good at all, but there was no way. And I missed that last quilt full patchwork and prosing. It's insane. I mean, I'll drag myself to a gig half dead, but if I'm like 3/4, apparently I can't do it. So thanks for hanging in there. I mean, I get this terrible feeling, you know, so people are gonna leave, they're not gonna subscribe, you know, if I miss a show, like 2 shows in a row, like I just can't believe it, you know. I'm just like, no, they're gonna leave, and most of, oh my god, the kitten sewing. That happens, by the way, when people subscribe and stuff. Crafts for Others is gifting 5 tier 1 subs to the community. Crafts for Others, thank you so much. You get when you give a gift to the community of a subscription, that's when the kitten happens, or when you subscribe for lots of months in a row, apparently. Oh, the kitten sewing is so good. This is why we love the Twitch. So anyway, I haven't taken a look down at the chat yet because I wanted to get through some of the stuff. But about Kirsten, hi, I saw you too. This is great to see you. Molly's here. Oh my God, $4 margaritas. Wow, I'm really behind. So Honeybee, it's so good to see you. You're watching on YouTube. Hey, nice. So I'm so happy to see everybody. And I saw Kay and Dee Dee in LA. That was incredible. Word and Bird Nerd gifted subs to Victorious. That's great. So Victorious, you don't have to watch ads. Anybody who got a gift subscription just now through the beneficence? Benevolent, yeah.
I don't know.
The niceness of the people in this community. If you just got a gift sub, you don't have to watch ads, and you can just, like, I don't know, you can use all the fun emotes, the tier 1 emotes and stuff. And if you're new here to Twitch, don't worry about it. Keep coming around and you'll get everything, you know, you'll see everything. Mother Nature, yes, thank you so much. And yeah, I'm glad I'm feeling better too. Kitty's here. Eva is great. Hello. And Dee Dee, it was great to see you. Who else? Let's see. Yeah. So cool, man. Okay. So Saucy's here, and Reese K, you got a subscription. We dance here. Girl, it's so good to see you. My Chicago girl. Co-working. We go back. And Quilty Nerd. Oh my God, I love it. Quilty Nerd, you're in the right place. Cold meds. Molly says cold meds, Mary is the best. I did get some cough medicine And what is it called? It's benzo something. And I was like, I know what benzos are. I mean, I wasn't partying
with benzo. You shouldn't have been operating machinery.
I know, exactly. And I haven't been, because I don't know, this kind of make me ill, but I was like, benzo, it's benzonatate or something? Benzo. And she was like, it works for some people with the cough. It doesn't work for other people with the cough. I was like, hook it up, lady. Like, doctor, hook it up, doc, like, why not? But it kind of makes me ill. But when it says, when benzo is the suffix, I was like, okay, sure. Send him over. I'll get him. Anyway, so yes, welcome to everybody. Angelina, hi. Don't crush it up on my desk. Okay. Everybody, let's begin. So let's really begin. I know I was chatty, but it's just good to be back. What is this quilt behind me? What does it mean? Let me get small and let's take a look at it. Yeah, this quilt is cool. So I was going through these exhibit catalogs. Hey, Jan. Hey, Kenny. Oh, yeah. So I was going through these catalogs and I saw this particular quilt and I liked it, of course, but then I saw who made it. And the person who made it, sorry, okay, come back to earth here. The person who made it is Virginia Randalls. And I knew that name just because, well, on this show, we learn a lot about quilts. And let me tell you, if you watch this show regularly, you know so much about quilts. You know more than you think. You're going to be at some quilt exhibit someday, and you're going to be like extremely annoying to anybody you're with, or to even people that you're not with. You'd be like, oh, I saw you were enjoying that quilt by Virginia Randalls. Well, did you know? I mean, like that's, and you won't be able to help it because you'll be so excited. But thanks for following. Thank you, Sarah. So this is Virginia Randalls, and I know that a lot of you know this quilt because this quilt is very well known. And this quilt was it's Helix 2. It was made by Virginia Randalls in 1984, 52 by 52 inches in diameter. I mean, look at this thing. If you're not a quilt person and you stumbled upon this stream and you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this, and the host is, she's got pictures, she's got kittens sewing. So, I mean, I don't know if you're a monster if you're not still watching. Thank you very, very much, anonymous gifter. About Kirsten, you're a subscriber now. That's so cool. Champagne for you. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that cute? Kittens and champagne. Come on. Kittens and champagne. So, if you just dropping by and you're like, I don't know, the host is a lot. She sounds a little stuffed up still, but she's drinking wine. Like, maybe I like her. I don't know. I have to wait and see. But then if you see something like this, I mean, this is a quilt. And the people who've been around, who watch Quilt Nerd, we saw this quilt in person because we went to the International Quilt Museum and this was on display. It was in an exhibit. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful, like in a picture, looking at it on our screen. And it's really cool in person. And 1984 was an exciting year, in the history of quilt making in America, because in the 80s, quilt makers were like, and by quilt makers, I mean artists, right? We say quilt makers here because we're talking about people who work in the quilt medium, but there were a lot of art exhibits at the time all around the country and then around the world that were showing quilts, in major galleries in museums, finally, right? Because quilts are art, but they don't get called that a lot of the time, or they didn't for a long time. Anyway, so at the time this quilt was made, wow, that's trippy. Hello, benzo cough medicine, woo! So at the time, let's take a look at it just full on. Sorry. So when this quilt was made, Helix 2 in 1984 by Virginia Randalls, she was really pushing the envelope, of like what a quilted thing can do. And you just think about how hard this is. Painting it would be difficult. Like if I tried to paint anything that was at all accurate in any way, it'd be a total crack up. Like it would not go well. But if I tried to sew something that looked like that, I mean, no, it's a whole different thing. So Virginia Randalls made this. Hey Padma, hey Lisa, You had Lisa says, El Rig says, I had a master quilter educating me this earlier this week. Thanks to Quilt Nerd, I dropped some feminist quilt history on her and put a stop to that nonsense right away. Wha-bam, she meant well, bless her heart. You know what? I'm going to give her this, and I'm going to give her this, and I'm going to give you this, and this, for being like, for dropping that knowledge, dropping the knowledge. I love that. And that's the thing. It's like, to study quilts, doesn't make, a person a feminist. You don't have to be however you define it. It's a total mess, right? But the truth is, and again, because I'm educating Victorious now, I'm not explaining things to you. Well, I am explaining things to you. I'm woman-splaining. Anyway, but, it's like, it is truly, it's like so many people make quilts. It's like genderless. But it's true, a lot of the ladies, make quilts because it was a place for a lot of women, who couldn't go to art school and stuff, for a long time. I mean, the first woman who could go to art school in Paris, was like 1890 or something like that. Like, you couldn't even go, And so quilts were this place for people who happened to be, female, to like make really beautiful art. It was like the original safe space. It was, because nobody bothered them, right? And they could like work out really awesome design problems and stuff, and they could like really have a good time. Yeah, Nell, exactly. They could work out some really wonderful visual, beauty, and nobody told them they couldn't. So yeah, Elle Riggs is talking to somebody, and she's like, you know what, I'm gonna drop a little knowledge on you, and that's great. And the vibe of Quilt Nerd is that we just dig this stuff, so it's never like, let me tell you, unless we really feel that way. Okay, so anyway, so this is Virginia Randall's, and this is what she has to say about it, and there's no Abe Books affiliate links tonight, because these are all just these exhibit catalogs, which are, they don't have ISBN. So I'm going to read this to you. This is from an exhibit in 1983, and it was called Influences, Traditional and Contemporary Quilts, and it was presented in, at the Spencer Museum of Art. The Spencer Museum of Art, okay? And which is at the University of Kansas. Yeah, the Spencer Museum. Okay, cool. So here's what Virginia Randall says about this quilt. Okay, it's called Diane S. So someone's name. The last name is just S. Diane S. Pieced by Virginia Randall's, quilted. Interesting, by Mrs. Owen M. Miller. Okay, so Virginia did the piecing. What made it a quilt was Miss Owen M. Miller, Mrs. Owen M. Miller. Who put all the layers together. 1982, cotton and cotton blend, machine pieced, hand quilted, 57 by 57 inches. And it was, at the time, it was in the collection of a woman, Diane Simpson. So, okay, so here is what Virginia Randall says about this piece. And I can zoom in on it. Wow, cool. You got to think about, in 1982, there wasn't as much fabric as there is today, So finding just the right green and just the right purple to have this ombre effect is very, very impressive. Okay, quote, I have had a lifelong interest in color and a desire to communicate in a non-verbal way. My quilts are intended to express aesthetically my experience and inspirations. I feel the interpretations are completely by the viewer. I strive to perfect my craftsmanship, and several themes have continued in my work. The spectrum of refracted light, log cabin variations, botanic impressions, and mandala or star designs, unquote. Well, we know that because of the two we just saw, Spectrum, color, absolutely. So cool. And then they say, in the catalog, they say this, quote, Virginia Randall's is a University of Kansas alumnus who now works from a private studio in Athens, Ohio. It's a hot spot for the art quilt, That's where Nancy Crow is, I believe. She has taken several fine arts courses at Ohio University and 12 seminars and workshops from nationally known artists. Interesting. Her work has been included in many national juried and invitational exhibits, including Quilt National, and she's been published in this and such and so forth. Virginia Randall. Cool. I'm into it. So that's our intro quote. yeah. There's so much. I mean, it's just one quilt, Well, it's 2 quilts because we knew about the other thing. Okay. Oh, yeah. And to be timely, listen, I wanted this to be the intro quilt, but when I put it behind me, aesthetics, they matter to me. I care about that, And it just didn't look right. It looked drab and sad and boring, okay? But I really want to show this quilt because as I was looking, and this is one of these moments. Because, yesterday and today, Cake, you probably were following some of this stuff. I mean, that bank in California.
I'm afraid to say that I have not watched TV in like 3 days.
You know what?
I have no
Listen,
idea what's happening in the world.
Listen, I gotta tell you, I really, right now, I go through periods where I'm like in the news, periods where I don't. But Eric, he's looking, and he's in the tech world and stuff. And this, it's the second most significant run on a bank in the history of this country. Silicon Valley Bank, SVB, they failed, right? And so, I mean, it's like $250 billion worth of like assets and money and stuff. And it's a terrible thing. Like, it's bad. It's really bad. I didn't understand how bad. And then Eric was reading me some articles and some different things. Y Combinator, I don't know if you know. Anyway, he knows about this stuff, and it's very bad right now for the startups. Like 50% of the startups out there were like banking there,
Yeah, I'm sure crypto was involved.
Probably, right? Probably, but also
nobody learned. I mean, I don't want to get political here, but nobody learned from the crisis of 2008, right?
Well, and yes, and it's true. The thing that's different, yes, you're right, and it's all really complicated, and like I understand, 2% of it. Not to make myself sound like a dimwit, but I mean, there's so many parts I don't get. But the nice thing is about this is there wasn't fraud. There's nobody was being nefarious or gross. They did get a bunch of bonuses paid out right before they crashed. But I read, or Eric read to me, a lot of these people who are suffering from this bank failure are small businesses. And in terms of like a bailout from the government and stuff, there's a narrative getting told, that it's a bailout of all the rich Silicon Valley like dudes or whatever. But there's a lot of collateral damage. There's a lot of people who are really suffering now. And my husband's in the tech industry, and it's been hard anyway. And so this is really a big deal. And so I was going through these exhibit catalogs, and in this one, the new quilt, okay. Yeah, exactly. It's all complicated. Hey, Wonky and Auntie Sin, hello. You thought they were there? Yes, they're men. So this was in 1991, and I'm gonna zoom in on this quilt. 1991. This was an exhibit in Australia. So this is an Australian quilt maker. So this is 1991, okay? And real quick, we're going to go right back to it. But I was also reminded of this quilt, this brilliant quilt by Mary Fogg, right? One of the most extraordinary, hey Gail, one of the most extraordinary quilts, I think, of like all time. And it's called The City. The City. And so I was thinking about this. So we'll take a look at this again real quick. But this, look at this. So it's called the Corporate Calamities. Corporate calamities. Let's go in here and take a look. So what are the words here? Loss, leverage, LBO. I don't know what LBO even means. Mother Nature, you thought of the quilt as well? I'm telling you, this is what I mean, Mother Nature. When I say you know some stuff about quilts, if a current event happens and you're like, oh, reminds me of that awesome quilt by that lady. Yeah, tell me you're a quilt nerd without telling me you're a quilt nerd. Like, oh, I know a quilt that goes with this national news story. You know what I mean? So here's what we have, a quote from Jane Long, who made this quilt, okay? It's called Corporate Calamities. It's 131. Hey, Betsy, I can turn that down a little bit. It's called, Corporate Calamities, 131 centimeters by 133 centimeters. So sadly, I don't know my conversion rate well enough to do that math, but it's tied, it's hand and machine pieced and appliqued. Silk, cotton, wool, and wool blends. And Jane Long says of this, quote, unfortunately, I have not read this quote, by the way. Sorry. Okay, quote. Unfortunately, many men consider anything to do with fabrics as just for women and disregard it as art. If my quilt makes men think more about quilts, I'll feel pleased. It simply portrays some of the practices of the 80s and is not intended to imply wrongdoing on the part of any company directors. On the part of any corporation represented. I hope that the kind company directors and corporate lawyers who donated ties and fabric for the work are happy with the result. She's like, yeah, insider trading, but don't be offended. Hey, fair enough. So yeah, corporate calamities, right? And I mean, we have one now, but it is interesting, and I urge you. Believe me, I do not urge people politically. Well, every once in a while I do. But for the most part, I just keep my political opinions to myself, like overtly. And I don't know if this is political or not, but they're going to push, I think, the narrative of just, you know, the fancy Silicon Valley people banking there and if they want to bail out. But it's a lot of small businesses, a lot of really small businesses. And Eric was reading me some testimonies from, you know, women who have businesses who are like, you know, their money's gone, you know, and like, yeah. Anyway, so some people of color were talking about that. They're like, I'm a small business. I had all my money in that bank. It's not just the, you know, tech bros who are affected. It's a lot of people. So it's very sad. So Mary Fogg made this quilt in 1993. And this quilt is in the permanent collection of the International Quilt Museum in Lincoln, Nebraska. Amazing place. So great. And we featured Mary Fogg's quilts on the show. Mary Fogg passed away, but one of you awesome quilt nerds kind of like, I don't know, somebody got in touch with her daughter and let her know that we talked about her mom. And her daughter emailed the show, you know. She was like, my mom would have loved being featured on this. That's really great, you know. So that's the kind of stuff that happens around here. And, yeah, if you like it, you should come back and watch the show more. This is The City, and I don't know. I mean, I think it's perfect. What do you think about this? Hey, Dee Marie, I saw you in there. Yeah, Victorious, I'm sure they were thrilled. Robin says, I love how the neck fabrics are wrinkled to show more texture. Oh, wait, the other one, yeah. This one? Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, corporate quilt stuff, you know. Corporate quilts. Oh, I didn't notice. Wait a minute. You probably all noticed, but that's lapels. I mean, I didn't notice the lapel. Did you see that? Hey, Jan, thank you for resubscribing. You've subscribed for 13 months. That is amazing. Thank you for subscribing at tier 2. You get special streams. You get access to special stuff. And I appreciate you very much for making that leap. That is awesome. Or for being a subscriber. Thank you very much. M. Hicks, so good to see you. Yeah. Oh, yeah, The Matrix. So, honey, you just said it. You know what? I haven't been able to, like, yes, The Matrix. I have, that's been, like, on the tip of my mind somehow. The whole, every time I look at it, there's something, like, you said The Matrix, and that was like, yes, that's what it is.
It's like this ethereal kind of, yeah. You're looking at them through the mist.
Exactly. It's very, kind of like Blade Runner-y, very like Matrix-y Blade Runner-y. It's totally great. I think when I put this quilt on my Instagram and was talking about Mary Fogg, I think it was like the most like likes I'd ever gotten on Instagram. I was like, well, yeah, because it's not me taking a picture of myself or just talking about like something I want to promote. You know what I mean? Like, Instagram's really hard. Anyway, Mary Fogg is very good at it. Okay, so I had to show you those two like timely things, right? And now we're gonna look at this. So there's two catalogs. Both of them are pretty beefy. So that's what the show is. It's like one of the catalogs and then the other of the catalogs. So we'll go through one of them now. We'll take a break. We'll do a cake break. And then we'll come back and look at the other one. This one is kind of the shorter one, or there are fewer things to see than in this other one. But I looked into the person who made the quilts I'm going to show you. And you're in for a visual feast. Okay, you're in for a visual feast. So here's the cover of. I opened with that quilt because this is the. Oh boy! Oh wow! Not really that exciting. Myra, thank you so much for subscribing at tier 2. You've subscribed for 18 months. You're on an 18-month streak. You're one of my first subscribers, Myra. Don't think I have I remember. Here's a little champagne. A little champagne for a little duck. For all my subscribers, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Are they dodos? I think I just saw your. I think they are. So yeah. So this is not the most exciting cover. So we opened with something else, but I do want to point out $2. I got this for $2, and the amazing stuff that's inside of it that I'm so glad I have. I got this exhibit catalog at American Quilt Group seminar, the yearly seminar at American Quilt Study Group. You know, they have an auction, and they have a big bunch of books and stuff that they sell every year. And a lot of the stuff that I got, definitely all the stuff you've seen tonight, auction, $2. I'm telling you, I used to be a Tori Amos fanatic, and I would go to the record fairs, you know, in Des Moines, Iowa. And I mean, I love a good convention center ballroom full of stuff I can buy for $2. Okay, I love it. I love it. Lead me to a Holiday Inn convention center ballroom and give me tables of merchandise for stuff I'm nerdy about, and I'm very happy. This is an exhibit catalog for Maria Baumschlager Dünser. Okay? Hey, about Kirsten, you get it. You get it, goals. Absolutely. It's interesting. So this is in German. I don't speak German. Sherlock So's, God bless you. You speak many things. Actually, I don't know if German is one of the things you speak. You speak Afrikaans, you speak French, you speak, I think you were like a little Spanish. But anyway, you speak like 5 languages. You're a polyglot. So you could probably help. And I'm sure other nerds out there maybe could help with the German. I can't tell you much about it, about this exhibit. But I know that 1998 looks like the year that it happened. And what's interesting about this exhibit, here's the other exciting part of it. It's double-sided. So this is the Maria Baumschlager Dünser side. And then if you turn it over, you have M. Joan Lindholt, who is a very famous textile artist too. So at some point, we'll look at that. We'll look at her side of things. But I just want to show you these quilts because they're great. And one of the things that we do, it just started happening a while ago, and we just keep doing it because it's fun. There's this kind of quilt called a cross-stitch quilt. And it kind of looks like a pixel situation. And this woman, I mean, it just keeps coming back. Cake. It's just the thing. And part of what was exciting about this is that this is like what she makes. For example, let me just hop forward. I mean, they're all like that. Like, there's like a couple quilts by this woman that were featured in this gallery or this sale, whatever it was, that aren't cross-stitch like, but most of them are. And they were made in 1997, right? Like, so this is 1997. We'll go closer in on these. This is 1996. This is called Der Schnabelster. So if somebody speaks German, we might know. Are they pheasants? What are these birds?
Yes, somebody please tell me, is Der Schnabelster, is that roadrunner or pheasant?
Yeah, exactly. Somebody better figure it out. Jan's like, love the roadrunners. Roadrunner, it's possible. And it's really cool how that little thing dangles down, right, off the grid. I love the quilting. I think the quilting is great. And so these cross-stitch quilts, if you're not familiar with them, yeah, I mean, they look kind of like 8-bit. If you're a Twitch person, you know, or a gamer person, there's all kinds of people who know what 8-bit is, but they kind of look like, you know, digital pixelated things, but these kinds of quilts go way back. People have been making pictorial quilts this way for, I mean, generations, you know. So this is an interesting thing that she's doing this in 1996. you can definitely tell what they are. But here's what's cool about this. I mean, there's a lot of, but look how she did the quilting. So the bird patchwork is very graphic. It's very, sorry, let me just go in and commit to that, okay? So she's got the patchwork is very, squares and rectangles and stuff. But then the quilting, which is big stitch quilting, she's done the feather stuff. I think that's kind of cool. I like that, I like that effect. The crow who's oh, wow!
Yeah, you can see the feet. I guess those are the feet, like where the black squiggly foot is. You can see that looks like she's quilted an actual foot.
She totally did.
That's pretty cool.
She totally did. And Word and Birdner just said that it translates. Are you saying that it translates to the crow who stood on his beak? A story about a little crow raised by a single mother. Are you really? Oh, Eva, that's a good question. I can't show the bag because it's green. They're sour cream and onion kettle chips. Thank you for asking. I like that. I like that you're looking out for that. Yeah, he totally did. She totally did the feet. And Word and Bernard is saying that is what is. That's what it means. That's wild. The quilting is really interesting. I agree, El Riggs. I completely agree. I think it's really cool. So I'm a fan of this. I'm a fan of this this style. And then there's these other ones. Deborah likes the stream. I love that. Deborah, thank you for coming by. So also, what I also like about this, now let's look at the next one. This I love. I love this. I love it so much. I love it so much. Auntie Sin, crisp selector. So if you redeem your channel points, we can talk about it more. Maybe Cake. Cake, could you cover channel points on your break when we do the cake break? Can you just go over that? Okay. I won't take time now, but Auntie Sin, you let me know, okay? Anyway, I love this quilt so much. Look at, first of all, just like look at how deep the quilting is. I mean, that's a lofty batting, right? I mean, it's thick. This is very, I still have a little bit of like, I don't want to say COVID, because that's serious, right? Like, but I mean, I don't know. I'm still kind of like, I'm not as articulate tonight as I want to be, but the quilting is so, the quilt seems very lofty, like the batting is very thick. I mean, look how deep those stitches are. Do you know what I'm saying, Cake? Do you see what I'm, that's a gushy quilt.
Yeah, because it's not, at least the borders aren't very densely quilted. And you can really see that it's very defined.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's true. It's just a little bit of quilting. So this is an interesting, so this is called, okay, here, Word and Bird Nerd, here's your chance to, well, it's, okay. I don't know if I can I do this? It's not going to probably let me, hold on. It's called Zwischen. Hold on, Zwischen Himmel und Erde. Nah, it's not gonna let me. Okay, Cake, I'm gonna write it in here, and then can you post it in the chat? Because it won't log me in. I'm writing the name of the quilt. Okay, great. Okay, that's the name. That's the name of the quilt. So anyway, I think the red birds are really great. You can see if I zoom in, which I will, the beaks are like three-dimensional, so they pop out. They're textured, if you will. Thanks, Cake. Courting birds displaying. Oh, thanks, Kaz. Wow. Courting birds displaying. Wow, that's great. Okay, let's take a look at the whole thing. I love this blue line up at the top. I mean, talk pinstripe to me. I mean, I'll take a pinstripe any day. What's going on here? Is that a shadow from the photograph? What is going on with their beaks there? Is that a shadow? Looks weird, right?
I kind of wondered. It looks like it's literally like a smudge.
I know.
The black part of the beak is what it looks like, but I don't know.
It really looks that way. But I mean, if I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I never really thought about shadows on a flat shot because usually the camera's like straight up and down. But if it wasn't, if they were lighting it from the bottom, then I think that's what it is, right? It's a shadow. Angelina.
Yeah, it must be, because it doesn't make sense why there would be smudges like that.
I know. But... I mean, Auntie Sin, like, I feel you. Like, that's the question, right? Like, it looks like it's painted, but I don't know. And what's interesting, too, is, like, maybe the quilting looks a little deeper or thicker because of that shadow. Because you know what? You're right, Cake. Because, like, look at there's a shadow going on. I think you can tell. Like, it's like sort of lit from below or something, and they're taking the flat shot because you can kind of tell that. But anyway, regardless, I just love it. I think it's so great. And this was made in 1997, and it looks like it's timeless to me, this quilt. Let's take a look at the whole thing. It's timeless. I just love it so much. I think it's so cool. Okay. So she's got a couple others. Huh? And as we'll see with her other work, Maria Baumschlager Dunzer, she's into birds. Like, she is super into birds. I want to switch to the other screen, but I won't just yet. This is called Nachtvogel, Nachtvogel. Nachtvogel. Nacht is night.
I can't remember. Yes, I was going to say, I can't remember what Vogel is, but I know what Nacht is.
I mean, is Vogel verb? I don't know. The birds look dead. Saucy, I know. Hey, Slim Quilt Pants is here. Oh my god. Slim Quilt Pants says, but only weird birds. She's into birds, but only weird birds. Yeah, these birds do look like they're kind of like, they're in the market. You know what I mean? Like, they're hanging in the market. Sideways.
Vogel means bird.
Vogel means bird. That's what we do. We know these things. But again, it's kind of that cross-stitch quilt vibe for sure. Like, I would say if anybody, we play that's appropriate, the goose sound. But if there's ever like a kind of an interesting angle or like an interesting idea that comes up on this show for like a research project or something, or like something somebody maybe wants to dig into, I'm waiting for the day when someone's like, I'm doing the cross-stitch quilt. I'm going for it. I'm going to talk about it. This would be such an interesting person to talk to about her work, because she's doing this kind of pixelated pictorial stuff, And by the way, look down here. This is so neat. Look at that little red bit. The little red bit. It's very southern United States. Quilts of Appalachia, quilts in Alabama and Mississippi, you have these little moments. Yvonne Wells, a quilter that we love, an artist that we love, in every quilt that she makes, she puts 3 tiny triangles. Or there are 3 triangles somewhere in her quilt to represent the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. That's her thing. And sometimes they're just 3 little tiny red triangles somewhere around in the quilt. Why? I don't know why. Why does an artist make their art the way they make it? It's that they want to do it. And here's a little black square, very cool. Very, very cool. So there's that. There's 2 others. Is that right? Maybe there's actually 3. Okay. Oh yeah. Forget Me Not. Look at the border on this one. Look at the border on this. That's not easy. I mean, I don't know. Oof. I would love to tell you more about this person. I definitely Googled her, and we will see some of the fruits of the Googling. But I couldn't find too much. I mean, I would read something to you, believe me, if I could. But there isn't anything in the thing, really, in the catalog, particularly, about her. There's no bio or anything. And it's also in German, so even if it was there, it'd be tough. But, I mean, we see a lot of quilts on the show. I've never seen a quilt with this particular border, And I think it's kind of like one of those things that if she was like a quilter, she wouldn't do it. But she's making her art, right? Like she's coming to it from an artist. I mean, yeah, she's coming to it from outside of like learning how to sew perhaps as a kid. We don't know that, but that's really intense, that kind of border, My Great Cat loves the quilt. Same. I totally love it. the weirdest ones were your favorites at QuiltCon. Myra, you know what? We should do like a QuiltCon recap. I just haven't done it yet. I would have put something together, and then I was felled by the plague. Hey, Carrie. Thanks for coming by. So, Cake, what do you think? What are your thoughts on these quilts? I would love to hear what you think. Like, do you have impressions?
Well, yeah, I think that that border situation, I think, on one hand, yes, I do think that screams, I didn't know what I was getting into, and I just did it anyway, and it looks amazing. But I also think it kind of looks like each of those shapes are sort of added on to a more traditional binding.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know that it's as or I don't know. I can't.
Interesting.
Shadows. Oh, shadows.
Yeah, the shadow. Yeah, the shadows. Interesting.
So I don't think it's quite as complicated as it looks, but it is still takes some skill to do that.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
But what I really love is this concept of she's made these very blocky things.
Yes.
Which, to us look like, 8-bit or whatever. But then she's done, all the quilting is so organic. And it's showing the thing as it would be organically.
It's pretty awesome. And I got to tell you, didn't really notice until we looked at them like super close. Hey, Heather. Oh, thank you for subscribing. That's awesome. I appreciate you. So, yeah, really very cool. I mean, that's a really interesting way. And this is a great example if you're not a quilt person. It's like oh, man. Okay, I got to remember this. This is the best example of why the quilt medium is so exciting for an artist, right? Because you've got these different design vectors. You can make your patchwork, and you put all your fabrics together, but then to make it a quilt, you have to quilt the layers together, and you have this whole other design possibility. So this person made the flowers, she made her blue and black and green sort of shapes, but then when she quilted all her layers together with those stitches, she made curvy shapes, right? Those lines that you see. So, I mean, that's really cool. A painter can do lots of different things, but you don't have these different textures to work with. And so that's pretty awesome. So, well done, Maria. And there's two others. There's this one. Oh, yeah, that's great. So there's this one and there's this one. So we'll finish up with these florals. Another pretty exciting border. Oh yeah. Okay, look. So we've definitely got shadows. Check that out. It's uplit essentially, because that's a shadow of those little Feed Me Seymour kind of like centers. The quilting on this is pretty awesome. Like, I love the way that looks. They're like carnations or poppies or something. This one's called Orchideen, Orchideen, Orchideen. And it was made in 1997. I mean, the dark green, I'm seeing dark green. It looks like black, but I see dark green on my screen. That color with like the chartreuse binding on one side, I mean, I think this is really cool. I think it's successful. Like visually, I think it's interesting. The dark thread. Yeah, you will notice me. Yes. She went for it. I love it. I think it's really great.
I was about to say, does it say anything about what is in the middle? But I guess even if it does, it's in German, so we don't know.
Exactly. It really...
I'm trying to figure out what that is, though. Like what...
In the middle. Yeah, what is that?
It looks a little bit like a cracker. Or a cookie.
Looks like a Cheez-It. It looks like a damn Cheez-It. It does.
Or a Fig Newton.
Yeah, a Fig Newton, yes. Or a Muppet Mouth. It also looks like a Muppet Mouth. Everything looks like a Muppet Mouth to me. It looks like a chicken mouth. I mean, seriously, it really does. Okay. Yeah, so this is, I mean, I don't know. I think it's really neat. The 1990s. Oh, sorry, mid 1990s. And then this is the last one. Oh, and this is a good one to end on. So, actually, you know what? It's funny. I didn't think about this, but the petty point. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna do it. I am going to grab a really famous quilt that this reminds me of. I mean, this quilt that I'm about to show you was considered one of the best quilts of the 20th century. by a group of people. I'm going to open... Hold on. I'm going to open this. I'm going to open it. It reminds me of this, but it's a very different quilt. Hang on. It's Petty Points by Grace McCant Snyder. Some of you will know. Check this out. Yeah, remember that? I mean, this is like cross-stitch quilt on steroids, right? And this was made in 1942. It's 92 by 92 inches. Flower basket Petty Point, Grace Snyder. Yeah, those pieces, those are, I think they finish a half an inch or something. I mean, it's that bad. That's what I was going to say. It's that intense for the Petty Points. But technically a cross-stitch quilt. So you see, if you wanted to do a thing like, if you wanted to do some kind of cool like paper on it, or even like a blanket statements article, or I don't know, something. If you write something, I will edit it for you. I will like read it for you. I'll talk to you about it. We can talk about it on the show, whatever. But this is an interesting element of that kind of quilt. And then you have this interesting element of that kind of quilt. It's a basket of flowers, but look at the quilting up on the border. It's like scribbles. And this person, I don't know for sure, but I think that she is around, you know? Look, there's buttons up there. Very cool contrast, I think, you know, to compare those. And I don't know what the angle is on the thing that you might write or study, or I don't know, but that's what quilts are really interesting to me, you know? Look at the range that we have. Okay, so that's what we've got time for, and now I'm going to show you this. So the woman Maria Baumschlager Dunzer, she makes other things. She's into birds, folks. I Googled her. She makes these pieces, these clothing pieces. From what I understand, here, Cake,
so it's like a collar.
It's like exactly. And I'm gonna give you to put in the chat, Cake. The this is what I found. So I believe, from what I understand, I believe that she sells these pieces at this gallery. Okay, that Cake will put it in the chat. And there are many artists that sell. Look at this thing. Many artists that sell work at this gallery, and Maria makes these objects. Eat your coat. Hi. Yeah, right, exactly. Oh my God. I mean, I don't know if this is humane or not. I feel like it is. I don't know anything about how you make things out of feathers, but holy hell, it's so beautiful. Oh my God, look at this, so beautiful. This is Maria. This is the same woman who made those quilts, made these. My Great Cats isn't into it. She's not. Oh yeah, okay, here, yeah, this is the handbag. That's the first one I saw. I was like, well, I'm showing some of these on the show. I have no idea if, if, you know, how this stuff is made, if it's a problem or not, you know, in terms of animal cruelty. I don't know. But it's interesting that this person who made those quilts makes these objects, right? It's like wearing roadkill. Oh no, Molly, hi. Oh no, is it really? Damn. Birds will nest in the collar. I know. It's really pretty. I felt like this was maybe her, but I don't know. This one, not so much. This one, not so much. I have to say, everybody hated that dress Bjork wore with the swan. I thought it was great. I thought it was amazing. I was like, thank you for not wearing just something normal. I mean, Muccia Prada, I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but Prada, she said once, I will never surrender to a pretty girl in a pretty dress. I loved that. She was like, no, I'm not doing like some frou-frou pink dress. She's like, I'll never do it. It's boring. It's been done. People do it. I'm not going to do it. And so I thought Bjork's dress was really clearly not ascribing to that. So anyway, there's also jewelry at this particular website, this Slavic company gallery, and some books and things. And anyway, so I wanted to share that with you. And yeah, some of the jewelry is great. But yeah, this woman who made those quilts, she makes stuff out of birds, and I mean bird feathers. God, I really want it to be humane the way she makes them, because that is so badass. was like, so beautiful. Look how beautiful it is. Oh my God. Okay. The first one was the first one is the best, but where would you wear it? I know. I mean, this woman is going to parties I am not invited to. I mean, if I crash them, I got to have something like that to wear.
Of course.
What's that?
To the Quilt Nerd Gala, of course.
Thank you. Yes, the Quilt Nerd Gala. Oh, God, yes. Oh, I can imagine it. Like, we're thinking about retreat. Retreat? Gala. Like, yeah. Like, that's what we need. That's what we need. Okay, Cake, are you ready to take the wheel? And I can...
Sure.
Okay, it's time for the cake break, y'all.
Yes, actually, before you ready to take your break,
yes.
I didn't tell you before the show.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to surprise you.
Yeah, oh!
I have Dr. Dunton news.
You do? Okay.
I have an appointment with the Baltimore Museum of Art.
What?
Next Thursday.
Oh my God, are you going to look at the stuff?
I am.
Oh my God.
I finally broke them down.
Stephanie Cake, okay. This is a big deal. Are you like, you're going to be soaking in the quilt research. You better do something at seminar. You better be coming to AQSG seminar. You better, I mean, no pressure. Do what you need to do. I'm not going to, but I mean, I feel like.
That's what got me my appointment was I said, if I'm going to write a proposal to do a study center, I need to know if I have it, right? Like I need to know if I have an idea. Because, I know you guys love the Dunton trivia, the Dunton smut.
It's fun.
But
it's
I
fun.
Can't stand up at AQSG thing and say like, hey, there's 10 things about Dr.
Look at this cool thing.
Yeah.
But that's where,
I've done some real research. Yeah.
So what does that mean? So you're going to go to their archive? Well, what does it mean?
Yeah, so they have a library there, like many museums.
Yeah.
And, it's research library. They own a lot of stuff. So, I hate to say it, Dr. Dunton's stuff is probably not at the top of their list. Although some of the items in his collection were just at another museum. So those of you that heard me talk about the Wild and Untamed show with all the Baltimore album quilts. Yeah, some of his stuff was on loan from the Baltimore Museum of Art. But I mean, they're a big institution. They have the Cone collection. I mean, they have all kinds of stuff. But so I get to go to the library. Supposedly stuff is digitized, but the way the librarian was talking, stuff isn't digitized.
Which is why you got to go there, right? And that's so exciting to physically show up.
I'm very excited to be able to touch Dr. Dunton's papers.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, you're like, I'm excited to touch Dr. Dunton. So anyway, but here's the thing that I want to say. This is so important. So, what we're seeing when Stephanie reports on her Dr. Dunton stuff, like, it's very important because what we're seeing is in real time, somebody be interested in a thing and begin researching it. Like, that's why it's so important. I mean, we love to hear from Stephanie Cake anyway, but I mean, you could talk about the weather and we'd be like, it's Stephanie. But like what we're seeing when you report back and you share the stuff that's happening and like, this is a major development, like you're going to go sit with the stuff in the archives and like take notes and like, talk, it's amazing. It's so cool. And I feel like it's an important thing because what I hope happens is, people who are into quilts and stuff, some people, you don't have to do any study, you don't have to do any research, you don't have to. But to sort of see how it might work. That, like, if you present at seminar, or if you write an article for blanket statements, or you write an article and if Quilt Folk does some kind of thing, I mean, like, and then you get published in some kind of thing. It's like, this is how it happens. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. It starts with like an idea and then you do a thing. And it's cool because I think it's an example for everybody of just like, how does this even happen? Because I read things in journals or I read things and it's like, I don't know, it seems like somebody else does that stuff. It seems like people with like a history degree, they do that stuff. Well, we don't, screw that. We just do it because we like it and we're really curious and we're pretty, if you watch this show, you're probably like smart cookie, So anyway, go on. I just wanted to say that and frame the Dr. Dunton project, okay?
Yeah. And I have to say, like, if it wasn't for you and this show and all of the folks that are nerds, just us talking about this stuff and getting interested in it, I wouldn't be doing this. Well, I'm not going to say I wouldn't have known about Dr. Dunton because I was following some Baltimore album quilt stuff, but I wouldn't have had the interest in him that I have developed. So,
and you know,
if nothing else, Mary, you have inspired.
That's fucking awesome. I love that so much. And watch, you know, this is how the world is. It's like one day, I'm not kidding. I'm going to speak it into existence. You're like, no, I don't want more stuff to do. But like, you'll be like president of AQSG, and you'll be like, you know what? And you know, it started because I was curious about a thing. That's all. And it's not. I don't mean that you're curious because of Quilt Nerd, but I was curious about a thing, and then I became a member of AQSG, and then like here I am today. You know, toasting at the gala. The gala. That's a gala we can go to. Okay. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I leave it to you.
All right.
I shall return. Okay. Bye.
So Mother Nature, yes, I do have a one of those little portable document scanners, and I was like, can I bring that? And she said, of course, yeah, laptop, phone, whatever you want to take pictures with. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to be digitizing your collection for you because I want it all. But yeah, it's so exciting. And yeah, I will, I've already posted a little bit in the disco, but I will let you guys know how it goes. And, you know, I only requested a handful of things, you know, because I'm trying to be respectful of the fact that I know they're busy and, you know, all that stuff. So I will report back. But your Dutton trivia for the day, I can't remember if I mentioned that Dr. Dutton descends from colonial families. And if you're on Ancestry, you can actually look up Dr. Dutton and get he's in some publication about colonial families. And it talks about, you know, his ancestors. And, you know, I'm like, we knew Dr. Dutton was, you know, somebody special. He came out of, you know, Philadelphia. I think his family, or maybe probably his mother's family, had been there literally forever. So, but let me read you this. And this is August 31st, 1924. And if you've been catching up on the cake break for a while, you will know that the Baltimore Sun loved to talk about Dr. Dutton. He is in the paper from the early 1900s all the way up to right before he passed away in 1966. So Baltimore loved Dr. Dutton while he was alive and here. So this article, again, it's 1924, and it is called, the article is called Made Bust from Memory. Sculptor, great-grandfather of Dr. William Rush Dutton, studied Lafayette at dinner. Let me zoom in. This font is really tiny. So among the supposedly most accurate likenesses of Lafayette in his later years is the bust made by William Rush, the Philadelphia sculptor and woodcarver, and great-grandfather, incidentally, of Dr. William Rush Dutton of the Shepherd and Enoch Pratt Hospital staff. Long in possession of the Rush descendants, the bust was presented by Dr. Dutton some years ago to the Philadelphia Academy of Fine Arts in Philadelphia, where it remains. Of course, Dr. Dutton was giving away something. See, so he's given away a bust of Lafayette. He's given away Wedgwood weights, porcelain weights. He's given away a very old Valentine. He's given away reams of sheet music. Dr. Dutton is so generous. The manner of its making constitutes an interesting story in itself, remarked Dr. Dutton the other day. As the story has come down in our family, my great-grandfather was one of a dinner party in honor of Lafayette at the time of his revisit to America. It was noted that he maintained an almost complete silence throughout the meal, but turned a studious gaze on Lafayette. Some days later, he invited the same company, including the French visitor, to his own house for dinner. So yes, Dr. Dutton's grandfather was like, hey, Lafayette, come on over, have dinner. And he piqued their curiosity by a mysterious object covered by a cloth. So you can picture this. There's this like a big thing in the middle of the table, right, covered by a cloth. Not until the meal was over did he relieve his guest's curiosity. Then he swept aside the covering and disclosed to the delighted Lafayette a bust just completed. It had been done entirely from memory, and the sculptor's recollection was based solely on study during the meal of a few days earlier. In appreciation of Rush's achievement, Lafayette sent him an engraving of himself. This is still in the possession of Dr. Dutton.
Lafayette? Like,
yes, Lafayette, as in
like the statue of the guy down there, like
the French guy that mapped out DC.
Yeah,
Lafayette.
yeah, right. Oh yeah.
So yes, indeed, it does sound a little creepy, right? And so I had to think about this for a while because I was like, okay, what 17? I don't. This is terrible. My history is horrible. Like 17, late 1700s. Is that when Lafayette was hanging around?
I think probably. So. Sounds like
yeah.
it.
So like there's not even photography then, and so if you really want to remember how somebody looks, well, you would stare at them like a creep, right?
Yeah. This guy was he's like Forrest Gump. He's everywhere.
Yes, Dr.
He really
Dutton is like Forrest Gump.
Dr. Dutton Gump. Like, I mean, he's everywhere. It's actually fun. I mean, it just came to me, but it's like, that's where he is. It's true.
As nerdy as he is, I mean, he's truly one of us when it comes to the quilt stuff.
Yeah.
He's like the most interesting man in the world. I mean, having Dr. Dutton at a party would be like, he would have so many amazing things to say, right?
It's true. He would. And I mean, and the more you uncover, the cooler it'll be. And I mean, the more cool it will get. And it will be like, like when you sort of start shaping like what you might write, or I mean, and I don't know, like I don't ever want to put pressure on anybody to like do anything except just be curious about it, like whatever. It's like it's not going to be like if I don't ever write anything about Bertha Meckstroth, like my goal is to do that, but like I don't know, just even finding some of the quilts is so exciting and so interesting. But as you go on your journey, like I just can't wait to see what happens and like the different things you find out. It's freaking awesome.
Well, one of the things that I won't go long on this, but because I know we need to get back to, I'm interested to know, what is this on the screen?
Yeah, sure.
So he had a lot of correspondence, and I don't know if that's really well known or not, but the Baltimore Museum of Art has it broken down, and I'm assuming that Dutton did this. He has it broken down alphabetically. So he's got like, all the people whose last names started with A that he corresponded with are like in a folder. So I requested specific folders of names that I recognized as being like really consequential. I like Carrie Hall. He corresponded with Carrie Hall. I think he corresponded with Marie Webster.
Wow.
He was corresponding with like Land of Nod. So if you think about everybody who was kind of somebody that had to do with quilts, say in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, Dr. Dutton talked about.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm just curious to know, like, what was he saying to people? I mean, we know a little bit. Mary Kay and Barbara found that little bit about him having the discussion. What is it? Sue Roberts, I think, was the name of the woman that put together the Sears, the Century of Progress.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Dr. Dunn had talked to her, and they had correspondence, and so that's what Barbara and Mary Kay like discovered that. And so I'm like, what was he talking to people about? It's fascinating.
Yeah, it's cool. And when is your appointment? When do you get to go in there?
It's next Thursday. This coming Thursday. Yeah.
So Saturday, a week from tonight. You know what? And if you can, I don't know if they'll let you take pictures of stuff. I don't know what the rules are, but send me some visuals, and like I'll throw some stuff up on the screen. That'd be amazing. Yeah. Cool. Yay. Okay. This is awesome. This is a big development, and we are like staying tuned for the next big development. It's so exciting. Oh my God. It's so nerdy. Okay. Like it's so deeply nerdy, and I love it so much. Okay. So what's on the screen here tonight is just a very brief thing that this is the next, I got this card, from the International Quilt Museum, and I just wanted to show you that. Let me hide myself. So right now at the Quilt Museum, April 7th through September 30th, Peacemaking, Quilts and the Creation of Special Spaces. So this is at the International Quilt Museum in Lincoln, Nebraska. Such a great... Yvonne! Oh my God! Hey, Yvonne, how are you? It's good to see you. It's really, really good to see you in the chat. I am glad that I am back from my COVID journey to see everybody tonight. So so Quilts and the Creation of Special Spaces, that is happening, and this is what they say about it. Textiles are often key elements in defining a sense of place. Placemaking explores the many ways in which quilted, applique, and pieced textiles create specific, meaningful spaces in cultures around the world. So placemaking. Very cool. And then the other half of this card. We have talked about this person, Geeta Khandawal. So Geeta Khandawal, miniature costumes and quilts through October 14th. In 2016, Geeta Khandawal of Mumbai, India, started making miniature garments inspired by the clothing of Indian Maharajas between the 1750s and 1950s. This exhibition features these miniature garments and presents a selection of Khandawal's doll quilts, each paired with an Indian piece from the IQM collection. So that'll be cool. And by the way, if you're a subscriber to this show, you will be able to see that exhibit because I'll be in Lincoln at the beginning of June. That's right, to do some live streaming and to do some subscriber stuff. So that's pretty awesome. Yeah. Okay, so that's what's up at the museum. All right. So, oh my God, that was so great. Oh my God. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do to close out the show. I mean, I've got a few quilts to show you. So this is the latest. Oh, let me get the chat back. This is not the latest. What was I gonna say? No, this is the last. I don't know, the second catalog we're going to look at. I mean, and again, $2, right? This was $2 at the seminar in San Diego this past year. There were so many wonderful catalogs that I picked up, and this was one of them. Le Patchwork Contemporain Suisse. It was $2. Pretty cool, right? And I scanned the thing. I did a lot of scanning today. And of course, I scanned the tabs. Those are all my tabs. I love a tab. So I tabbed some cool stuff to show you. And, you know, sometimes we do a deep dive into one artist, and sometimes we watch a video and we do different things. Tonight, there's so much amazing stuff in this catalog. We're going to just look at a few of the quilts. I mean, that's what we've been doing all night. But this is an exhibit in 1986. This is in French. I can't speak French, and I can pronounce it. I mean, I could almost read French better than I can pronounce the words. I mean, I could make sense of stuff, but I can't do it out loud. Carol, thank you. And by the way, Cake, I forgot to tell you, I think it was Deborah Lafayette liked the stream when you were talking about.
I should probably mention for the future watchers, if you don't see in the chat, I was mixing up L'Enfant and Lafayette.
Oh. What, they're both stops on the DC Metro. Yeah, they're both just stops on the DC Metro. And the L'Enfant stop, by the way, has the longest escalator in the world. Or no, that's DuPont.
Yes, I'm scared of that escalator. It might as well be the longest escalator in the world because I'm very scared of it.
It's so scary. So to give you context, by the way, this is a screenshot I took. So, and we're talking about shows as well. So, the 10th of April. Sometimes we get lucky, and quilt shows that are happening aren't over when we discover them. Look at this. So I wanted to get context because this show happened in Switzerland, from what I understand, okay, in 1986. And so I was like, art quilts in Switzerland. I should get some kind of context, for the show to kind of talk about art quilting in Switzerland. So I did what I could. There's a show right now that's happening right now. I'm going to hide the chat for a second so you can see the whole thing. The 8th European Quilt Triennale, whatever, October 7th. So it's been happening since October through the 10th of April. So there's a whole month left. And it says textile and quilt artworks from 15 nations. 50 works were chosen from more than 150 submissions by an international jury, which included Judith Mundweiler. Need to write her name down and we can look at her. This is a screenshot of this. I will give it to Cake. The screenshot is directs you to hang on. This, which is oh no, I don't know if I have it. If you look up, oh God, 8th European Quilt Triennale. I never know how to say that, but it's here we go. Textile, it's this here. Let me click on this. It's that textilemuseum.ch. Can you see that? If you go there, you can see more about it. So there's this big show in Europe, and you can go to it, and there's lots of stuff. So that's cool. Here we go. So in 1986 there was this show, and it had these pretty awesome works in it, and I went through and I picked about 8 of them that I thought were particularly great, and this one was the first one. Now, there's nothing, I can show you the catalog. The catalog, you saw the cover, I scanned that in. This is it, right? There's not anything about, there's nothing more than the title and the artist. So I can't tell you anything more about the works. I Googled the names. Some of them have, things to say, and some of them don't. Hey, Caleb. Nice to see you. Thank you for following the stream. Well, glad you're here. So this is called Espace Ancré. I don't know. Espace Ancré. It's 98 by 104 centimeters, made in 1985. And I believe it's made by, Joanna Burkhard. Now, this is 3-dimensional, right? Like, I think what we're looking at here is patchwork wound around a tube, wound around tubes, right? ORD to ZHR is an option. Is it really? Is it really? I think they're tubes, Robin. They look like tubes. People are saying they're tubes. I think they're tubes. Yeah, because there's an armature situation happening here, right? Like there's some kind of, they're glued to something. I've never seen a quilt work. I've never seen an artistic work with, made in the quilt medium that looked like this. I think it's really cool. 1985. 1985. Hey, Empty. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate you. Goblin Kid. Oh boy. We've got all kinds of people who are following the stream. So thanks to everybody who's new. So anyway, so we've got like this ombre thing happening. We've got like, there's like this, I don't know. I love it. I love it. I think it's really neat. And the tube thing I have never seen before. That's an interesting thing. So Mother Nature, some of the fabric looks grunge. Yeah, it does. It does kind of. But you know what? I didn't realize it until now. But there's this gradation that's very specific. It's like this, it's dark in the middle. I didn't notice that until now. I mean, I looked at it through, through at the actual catalog, and I didn't notice how very specific it was. I just sort of saw it as graduated color. But it's a diamond, It's great. It looks like silk. I agree. The colorful quilt with the people before this one. You can't find it on the link. The colorful quilt with the people. This one. Okay. Oh, yeah. So this... Oh, wait. I've got it. Oh, my God. I've got it. It's right here. Sorry. Thank you, Myra. Here. I'm going to give it to you, Stephanie. Here you go. There you go. That's the link there. Sorry. Thanks, Myra. I didn't think about it. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Joanna Burkhard, 1985. Espace Ancré. Cool. Oh, I like this one a lot. This is called Chips. And I almost put this actually at the top of the show too with the Silicon Valley stuff because, I like any quilt that's called Chips. But of course it's like a microchip, right? And that kind of made me think about Silicon Valley and the banks and stuff. And this is interesting too. So it is, let me go. There aren't page numbers in this catalog, which makes it difficult, but I did my best. Yeah, okay, Chips. Lisa Huber, Huber, Lisa Huber, 1985, 145 by 145 centimeters. 1985. Consider that the smartphone was, 2008 was the first iPhone, Good, Myra, good. Santa's belt buckle, Padma. So yeah. This is cool. 1987. What was happening in computers in 1987? That's Microsoft, but Eric was like working with Amazon in like, I don't know, 91 or something, I don't know.
Yeah, I was in high school in 87. We had like Macintoshes and that's it. This doesn't read like a computer chip to me that much. Yeah. But then again, it's like what we Well, we think of computer chips now, like,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. This looks like, it looks like a piece of a television or something. Like, I don't know, like an old TV set. But we're here for it. We love it. And you know, this is a pretty cool quilt. I mean, this long skinny stuff, not easy, you know. And and it's pictorial, right? It's abstract, but it's also pictorial. And look, she really went with the theme. She's got like, you know, lightning-y electricity quilting going on, right? I mean, it's true. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I like this quilt.
Yeah,
I think it's really visually interesting.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
There's Kenny. IBM released the PS2 line of computers in 1987 in an attempt to reclaim market share from clones. Kenny, you know what? Oh, wait. Hold on. A little champagne for Kenny. Yeah, no, it is an interesting thing. And remember, AOL, one of the first groups of people to use the chat AOL feature, quilters. And a group of quilters made a quilt, an AOL like branded quilt for Steve Case, who started AOL, and they took it to him. In Kara Swisher's book about the history of AOL, she writes about it, how quilters like kind of like started the internet. Yeah, it's true. It's really interesting.
Okay. It wasn't Al Gore, it was us.
Thank you. And maybe Tipper is a quilter. We don't know. Okay, I'm going to skip that one and go to this one, because that one's fine, but this one's really cool. Yeah, so this is called Acapulco, 30 June 1935. Acapulco, June 30th, 1935. It's very Art Deco? No, it's not Art Deco. It seems like kind of 80s to me. Like, what am I thinking of? It's not Art Deco. It looks very, but it looks 1980s to me. It looks a little bit like, not Man Ray, but, what's that guy?
I'm thinking like McGree or one of the other.
Yes, McGree. It does look like, yes.
Yeah. But it does have that weird, why am I blanking on the word? Surrealist. It's like a surrealist kind of.
Yes, exactly. It looks very surrealist to me. And I think that there's texture here too. So there's like beads or something that show, that like communicate the blinds. I think it's really neat. And this was made in 1985 by Zibul Masson. Zibul Masson. Zibul Masson, cording. Yeah, Venetian blinds. It is very Magritte, and it is definitely like that. Oh yeah, and here you can see, I think they're beads, Dee Marie. I think they're beads. Eva Little said, I wanted to make a wall hanging for those CDs, but never got enough. Yeah. To me, this looks very, I think it's, hey, quoi. Ceci n'est pas un nuages. Is that like blinds? Probably. You're making a Matisse joke. Tonight, and I haven't noticed it too much because I've been, engaged in the show because I missed it a lot. But it's St. Patrick's Day sort of weekend here. Like, does DC, Chicago, let me tell you, there are people, they were lining up at the bars today around the block because there's a few Irish pubs down there. They were in line.
Patrick's Day is on a Friday this year. Like,
I know. It's like, what is it, the 10th or something?
When did they dye the river?
Today. They dyed it today.
Oh, it was today?
Yeah.
Okay.
Today or yesterday? I think it was today, though. And, it's really crazy. Like, it's really crazy. People will sleep in their cars tonight so that they can wake up in the morning and be the first in line at the bar. Yeah, it's sort of like New Year's Eve. People called New Year's Eve amateur night. It's not amateur night. Tonight is amateur night. Don't go outside. So Eric's gonna be walking me home because it's wild. Anyway, so this quilt, Zibul Masson, and 1985 it was made, and it's called Acapulco, 30th June 1935. So there's really an interesting story there. I don't know more about the person who made this, but visually it's very successful, I think. Very successful. Really interesting. Yeah, Eva, I will be careful. Clouds. Okay, nice. Okay.
I think the French was those are not clouds.
Oh,
or
those
that,
are not
that's
clouds.
not a cloud or something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's good. This one is really nice. I thought this one I liked. It's called Birds. And 1985, 150 by 180 centimeters by Helga Rosenberg. This quilt I loved because it is very simple. Like the visual impact is huge, but I mean, and I, again, when I say something simple, it doesn't mean, oh, I could do that. Oh, and we have another example of like geometric patchwork with quilting design that sort of expands the idea of the patchwork in a totally different sort of geometrical style, right? Because the patchwork is square. It's half square triangles or it's just solid fabric. But she's got the quilting is sort of taking the geometry and making it, like circular, just like those other quilts we saw earlier. Very interesting. And it's called Birds. And also, in 1985, I mentioned it before, but the fabric selection was not nearly what it is now. So, I remember my mom had like a few different blues to choose from, at the Ben Franklin store in my hometown. And then, she made it work. And there's 2 different blues in this quilt, but it looks so good, I don't know. I think so. I think it's really great. Jill, hello, by the way. You know what? Yeah, the little Bets over here in the corner, I forgot to take her away. She is like marching off the camera. I don't know. Look, she can be a bird. She can fly.
She's rummaging around for the next quilt.
She's rummaging around. That's right. She is Nancy Grasso. Oh my God. I was thinking of Nancy Carrasco, but also Nancy Grasso. I'm very glad that you're here. I was like, Nancy Carrasco. Oh my God. No, yeah. So little Bets here does kind of float around. I mean, she could come be on my shirt, but I don't know. I had her like marching off the screen and then I just left her there. I think I don't know. Whee! See, she wants to fly with the birds. Whee! Okay. Can you believe it? When I was in LA with Mom, I did not get a picture with Bets. We forgot.
Oh no!
We forgot, and then it was over.
I think Quack Quack Cat has a picture, so maybe we can like Photoshop your face in there or something.
Listen.
So for those of you that are not subscribers, you missed out seeing Bets in real life.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And Bets is huge. I was really surprised when Quack Quack Cat posted her picture, I don't know, it was maybe a week or 2 before you went.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what? Bets is big. I don't know. I was pictured her as being a little tiny.
Yes.
But she's not.
I really appreciate you mentioning that, Stephanie, because look, this is Bets, and she's a pig. She's the most beautiful pig that's ever lived, and she is in the Harriet Powers quilt that was on display, and that is still on display through I think tomorrow at the Skirball Cultural Center. And my mom, Marianne Fons, and I, we went this week, and we were there on Tuesday, and we did a private live stream for subscribers, and we saw Bets in person. And she's huge. She really is. She's absolutely huge and bigger than I thought. And it was so exciting to see her. And I felt like crying, But then we were doing the live stream, a private thing. We got the whole place to ourselves, and subscribers got to come along or watch it later. It's really special. I don't know anybody else who did that. So it's pretty cool to subscribe to the show. And you do it on Twitch. Don't be afraid. It's just a platform like YouTube or anything else. And there are fewer horrible people here. I don't know. So yeah, we got to see Bets, and she's really wonderful. So she's our mascot, and she is a really very large on the Harriet Powers quilt, and we love her so much. So yeah, she kind of hangs around, and I have her kind of hanging around these days. Anyway, so yeah, if you subscribe to the show, you get some cool stuff like private tours of museums that have quilts in them. This quilt I like. Let's see, I'm trying to think. Hold on, let me see what I pulled forward for you here. Hold on now. I do like this quilt very much. I'm trying to think. I like to find things where, we have the artist speaking about the quilt, or we have a little bit of something about it. And when it's in a foreign language, or when it's just a museum catalog without any copy, included, it's hard. And I have to tell you, when I was putting together the show today, I Googled all of the people here in these books. And if I found something, I'd be reading it to you, because I like doing that. But I didn't have anything. This is Dominique Rossier, Rossier. Sans Titre, Titre, Sans Titre, 1985. I like this one. And this is a pretty thick catalog, by the way. So like the 8 tabs that I put together, or the 8 tabs that I marked, were ones I really liked, because there's a lot of quilts in this show. But I thought this was kind of cool, like with the perspective, like the thin lines, thick lines, and then the piecing is pretty great, pretty special. I mean, look how, haphazard isn't quite the word, but that's very complicated. Some of it looks like applique, probably, right? Is it all applique? I don't know. I always turn to Stephanie, because I feel like you can.
Yeah, it looks apart. Like applique to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really struck by this because I have a friend who is a painter, and his work is a lot like this. Mm-hmm. Okay. Colors are always very different, but this kind of like these modular sort of in its perspective, and that's interesting. I like this.
I do too. I thought there was something about it that I liked. I also like this little moment here. This like salmon thing, and this is 1985. It's 140 by 240 centimeters. And it was in this show in Switzerland. Dominique Rossier. Very, very interesting quilt, I think. Yeah. Okay, and then the other one, I showed that one. Oh yeah, that's interesting. Oh my God. Okay, so there's 2 quilts left, but I'm going to show you something you ain't never seen before. Hold on. Yep. There are ads in this catalog, and including Marlboro. So this catalog, part of the reason it's as long as it is there are I'm going to show you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spreads. So that's 10 pages of ads in this catalog.
I don't think I have ever seen something like that.
I've never seen it. I've seen
like the page where it's like, Citibank, and there's a little logo, but I've never seen this. This is wild.
I know. So we're talking 1986. There is, and this is Europe, okay? So like, things are a little different over there in terms of like, I don't know how stuff works and all of that. But just wait. Because I was seeing all my tabs up there for stuff to show you, and I was like, I didn't pick that many quilts. And then I remembered that I scanned in the ads. Look at this. So there's Mettler thread, but there's also freaking like eye cream or whatever. And this speaks to my thing. I want at TwitchCon, we sat in these different workshops, and one of the workshops was like, what are your dream sponsors? And I like raised my hand and I was like, Southwest Airlines. I've talked about it on the show before. I was like, quilters go on trips and people go to see shows. My mother and I both took Southwest Airlines to go and see this thing. Southwest ought to be a sponsor of QuiltCon. They ought to be a sponsor of so much stuff, of this show, And so this was cool to me that there were these non-quilt supply people advertising in this ad. And look, there's like some chick that's like half naked. I mean, come on, this is great. ROC, R-O-C or whatever, the makeup people. I love that pillowcase. I love all of her bedding. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, and then this is maybe an art gallery or something. I don't know. Yeah, maybe an art gallery. I like that painting. That's cool. Patch Paradis. I actually think that's really neat. I wonder what that's about. It looks like a folk art gallery or something that they were advertising. El Riggs just said, I remember working in the smoking section of restaurants in the 80s. You know what? I worked at Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut was my second job. I worked there my junior and senior year of high school. There was a smoking section. I mean, it was half the restaurant. And it's like, the funny thing about smoke is that it doesn't stay on one side of the room.
When there's no wall, it doesn't stay in the smoking section.
It's ridiculous. And it was like, the salad bar was like in the middle of the Pizza Hut. I don't know if Pizza Huts look the same way, but, in the late 90s, they were like, the Pizza Huts. Anyway, but it was like the smoking section was, it's just you're in a box, okay? The box is the Pizza Hut, and you're eating pizza, and somebody's smoking over there. You're in the smoking section. It was ridiculous. It was totally hilarious. Anyway, so ads, okay, and then there's 2 other ads. Just really amazing. I mean, look, this watch ad. Ebel watches in a quilt exhibit catalog. I am here for it. Come on, give us some of that watch money. Come on now. That's great, Bring that energy. Quorum. Yeah, Golden Bridge. God, it's so 80s. She's like wearing a hat that matches her glove, or maybe her glove is her hat. I don't know. It's not a great photograph because we can't tell what's going on. I mean, she looks a little bit like she's got some kind of eyes wide shut mask going on. I don't know. I don't care. It's a fancy watch, and they advertised in a quilt exhibit in Switzerland. I think that's so great. I think that's really, really a great thing. Eva, do clubs in the USA? Eva, asking about the clubs. I think we could hang out. I think we could have a good time. Can you smoke in the club anymore? No. And I remember the time when you could, and I remember when it went away, Eva, and I'm not sad.
No, Louisiana still allows it.
Louisiana does? Well, New Orleans. By the way, Kaz JH, I think I recognize you. The quilting painting is in the Williamsburg, Virginia Museum. That's good to know. I like that painting. I'd like to know more about it. Kaz always knows. Rock the Casbah, that's what I say. In Canada, they got rid of it. The thing is, I remember, and I love smoking. I love it. I can't do it. You can't do it. You can't smoke. You just can't. But I love it. I really enjoy it. It's too bad it's terrible for you, or I would do it all the time because I just enjoy it. But I used, in college, I would smoke and stuff. And I mean, I remember New York did it first, and it was insane to me that you couldn't smoke in bars and clubs in New York. But you'd come home at the end of the night and you didn't stink.
Oh,
it was so much better. I was like, oh yeah, this is better. Yeah.
I remember we had good friends that lived in New York, like when it was banned in New York, and so we were like, "Oh wow, this is so nice." Yeah. And I remember the last day you could smoke in a restaurant or a bar in Maryland. Wow. I worked with all these finance guys.
Oh wow. Wow.
And they all went to the bar and were like just double fisting chain smoking because they were like, it's the last time I'll smoke at a bar.
Let me make myself throw up. Yeah, exactly. Let me make myself completely ill so I never want to smoke again. That's how my friend Bill quit smoking. He smoked a whole pack one after another. He's like, never. Oh God, I can't even think about it. Okay, so the last quilt for tonight is this quilt. I don't know. I think it's great. I think all the quilts in this catalog are great, and this is called Quattro. 1983, and this is Erna Schleilinger, Schleilinger, and one of the things I was struck by in this catalog, and I will show you the cover of it once more, Le Patchwork Contemporain Suisse, $2 at the American Quilt Study Group seminar. I was struck by how much was happening. It sounds dumb or naive or ignorant, whatever, but I mean, I don't know. Like, the quilt world is really interesting to me, and the history is really interesting because over in Europe, I mean, this is very cool stuff. Wait, where were we? Well, 85. We didn't talk about those. I'll save them. Hang on, this one. This 85. There's a lot going on over there, and I don't know. You hear about a lot of the American names, Nancy Crow and Yvonne Porcella and all these people, but there's so much going on in the whole wide world and over in Japan. All kinds of interesting things. People doing cool stuff with quilts. And, I Googled a lot of these people and I didn't find much about them. Doesn't mean that they're not doing stuff, but, I don't know. I love looking at these old catalogs. There's riches there, and I like to learn about them. I mean, look at this fabric. Like, what do you do with that pink fabric? I don't know. Look, she's got a white and pink polka dot. These fabrics, in the hands of somebody who didn't know like what they wanted to do, they're just, you know, kind of dowdy, frankly. And I love dowd. I'm down with dowdy. But this person saw graduation of color. She saw depth, perspective. This is pretty basic fabric. I mean, everybody who makes quilts in this, you know, world who's watching right now, like you have enough fabric to make a quilt that looks like this. You just do. I know. Even I do, and I got rid of so much of my fabric. But in terms of like tone and volume and stuff, like the person who can make this kind of thing really is such an artist, you know, to take. I mean, look at this fabric. Like what do you do with that? She's like, well, it's brown enough, you know, like it's brown enough to contrast with this other brown that I have, and I'm gonna make it looks like it's vibrating. It's so fantastic. It's so great, you know. And that hunter green fabric, she was probably like, if I don't use up the rest of this hunter green fabric, I'm gonna like throw it away. So then what can I do with it? It's what quilters have been doing for generations, and I'm so inspired by it. It's so great. It's so great. And you're so great, and I'm so glad that you watched the show. Molly Squared helped vape shops get regulated in your city. Molly, I talked about you today. Your ears may have been burning. Had a little call with Carrie Dell at AQSG. She's fabulous. If you're not an American Quilt Study Group member, you should be one. And if you need to renew, you should renew. It's an organization worth your time. Anyway, so yeah, I was talking about you today. So I love you, Molly. Listen, I wouldn't mind the vape shops so much if they had better signage. All the sign, they look so terrible. They're like vape, you know, 2.0, and it's like, did your son who's in 8th grade make your sign? Make some cool sign for your vape shop, and I'll be like, oh yeah, it's a cool little spot. No, they don't do that. Everybody, you're just the best for coming by. They're everywhere. They are. Thank you for. Thank you for hanging in with me. I was very ill. I was too ill. I couldn't do it. And I just thank you for coming and not giving up on me. Oh God, Lord help me, something really, really terrible happens. But listen, if you haven't gotten COVID yet, you know, keep doing what you're doing. I do feel like I got a little bit lax on the mask stuff, I gotta say, you know, and COVID's no fun. For a lot of people, you know, it doesn't affect them so much, but you know, Eric got it, of course, like 2 days after I did, and he's been okay, but I got it bad, you know, fever for 5 days, really, really bad. If I'm canceling stuff for a whole week, including Quilt Folk work, Quilt Nerd, and just losing a week of work with a big launch coming up for Quilt Folk that I'll tell you about on Tuesday, it's got to be bad. So it was bad. It was bad for me. You might even be able to hear it here. So just be careful. You know, keep washing your hands. You know, don't touch your face. It's real. It's a weird bug. You know, it's not. It is novel. We don't know as much about it as we know about other stuff. So just continue to be careful and take care of your loved ones and check in on folks that you love. And it's really good to be back. And I missed you. Cake, I missed you.
I missed you too. I missed everybody.
Dude, I know.
I mean, we talked on the disco, but it wasn't the same.
It's not the same. It's not the same. I gotta get in that disco. It's been a minute since I did, but I will. Okay, take care, everybody. Be good. It's great to see you. I'm glad I'm better too. And be well. And I'll talk. Jay Denster, finally out of the car. Listen to. Oh, I love that. Glad you're here too. Thanks, everybody, and thanks for subscribing to the show. It means a lot to me, and it really makes a difference. So we'll see you on Tuesday. Yeah. Good stuff coming. Okay. Bye.
Merry Christmas, baby. Reindeer's coming out to play. Santa Claus is packing the presents, making sure you've been behaving okay. Merry Christmas, honey. Yeah. The snowman's dusting off his hat, putting on the show for everybody, to give them a smile that lasts another year. There's something that happens when sleigh bells are ringing, when December ends, when the children are singing, yeah. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Ooh, yeah. There's room at the table for big and for small. All the fire is popping, the chestnuts are cracking, yeah. Merry Christmas, baby. Merry Christmas, baby. The snow is laying 2 feet deep. Now wish upon a falling star, so all your secret dreams can come true. There's something that happens when sleigh bells are ringing, when December ends, when the children are singing, yeah. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Ooh, yeah. There's room at the table for big and for small. All the fire is popping, the chestnuts are cracking, yeah. Merry Christmas, baby. There's something that happens when something that happens when December ends, when December ends, yeah, yeah. Oh, it's Merry Christmas, baby. Merry Christmas, baby. It's Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Yeah. It's Merry Christmas, baby.